Hello everybody, this is JD again. Yesterday I asked you, what do you want from your government? Now I'm going to ask you another one. What do you think makes a good president? This is where you and I will probably differ a lot. I'm going to tell you a few things that I feel makes a good president. Now, you hear all this about experience, executive experience. Well, if that was the case, then I think Mitt Romney, who probably has more executive experience than both the two candidates put together, should have been the candidate. I mean, here's this guy who's a billionaire all his life, been running everything all his life. But he's not even a candidate now. So really, is it executive? No, it's not executive experience. I mean, if we look at history and look at a couple of our real bad presidents. The worst, very worst, Jimmy Carter. What is it that made him so bad? Well, if you really look, Jimmy Carter knew everything. Nobody could tell him anything. He already knew the answers. He didn't have any courage to stand up for himself and his own decisions, but he knew everything. And then probably the second worst president definitely thought he knew everything. Nobody even had the right to disagree with him. And that was Nixon. He even had said that. Heck, I'm the president. That makes me right all the time, and I am correct. And probably that's where Bush is going to fit in. He's another individual that if you kind of follow the news in his cabinet, so it's like you couldn't disagree with him. Okay? Now we have two candidates, major candidates out there running. One of them is all the answers, the Messiah, the one who has everything. I've got a funny feeling that we're going to have another Jimmy Carter there. I don't know which one will be closer to Jimmy Carter. McCain, who sits on the fence, and maybe Obama's going to be another Nixon. Of course, it would be strange because Jimmy Carter was a Democrat, and McCain, who's very much like him, is a Republican, and Obama, which is a Democrat, and Nixon, who is very much like Obama, is a Republican. So, I mean, they cross parties all the time. So what is it that makes a great president? What is it that makes a man powerful enough to lead the country? Well, first, he's got to be a strong enough leader and confident in himself to know what he does not know. A good example, if I became president-elect, I would plead, I would beg, I would do anything it takes to keep Condoleezza Rice. Why? Because the job she does is so important, and she does such a great job at it, that I would need her. I don't think there is anybody in the world that could replace that woman in the job that she does. And she has made so much in her accomplishments that only a fool would replace her. And that is the sign of a good president. One who knows his shortcomings. Just like I was thinking about Homeland Security, I'd eliminate it as a cabinet space. It don't need to be there. It would be directly under the Commandant of the Coast Guard, who's always in this country from the time they were conceived, has been responsible for our homeland security. Plus, the Admiral, the Commandant of the Coast Guard, knows the buck stops there. In other words, when I turn to him, I could say, it better have happened, and he won't say, yes sir, yes sir. He'll say, it's already happened, it's been done, and taken care of. That's what we need in Homeland Security. Not someone who's looking for someone to turn around and say, okay, what are you doing there today? No. What has been accomplished. That's why I would put Homeland Security underneath the Coast Guard Commandant. Also, the Coast Guard Commandant has something that the President doesn't have. Even though they're sort of like a military organization, they're under the Department of Transportation. They are not a military organization. They're responsible for the security of the nation. But at their disposal is our military. Because during time of war, the Coast Guard is at the disposal of the military. In time of peace, the military is at the disposal. So the Coast Guard could immediately get with the governors of the states and with the National Guard and the Coast Guard, which has then all the vast resources of our military, can take appropriate action. So that things like Katrina won't ever happen again. Yes, these are things that you got to look for your president. Not one who says, I have all the answers. I have ideas. Yes. I have visions. Yes. And I can provide direction to Congress. But that doesn't mean Congress is going to follow everything. But at least it's going to get them started. But the most important trait that our president must have is he must realize that he doesn't know everything. And he must know where he is weak so he can get the people that are strong to do their job. In other words, our president needs to know his shortcomings so he can take corrective action so that they become his strengths. So really, all this stuff you hear about executive leaders, executive this, executive that, no. Because if you look, neither one of them are any executive experience. I mean, truthfully, Obama has none whatsoever, and McCain shows he possesses none. I mean, if you look honestly, in all the time McCain had been in the Senate, what executive action has he taken? He has found several faults with our government, several faults with our economy, several faults, but yet he has done nothing. And in Obama, I'm afraid he's too socialist. If he had his way, we'd be a communist country. It scares me when someone that intelligent has to copy me for his platform. Someone that intelligent could not see the truth because he's too blind with idealistic ideas and ideals that have already been proven through history time and time and time again. They don't work. Something I told somebody today. We don't have a democracy and we don't have a socialist government. We got a republic. It's kind of a combination of both. And we have to walk that fine line in the middle, not going too far to one way or too far the other way. And that's one of the great traits of our country. Besides the American people that make this country great, we have a government that is walking a very fine line, protecting its citizens while allowing the maximum freedoms possible. So, bottom line, what do you think is the traits of a president? Think about that. The man you want in the White House is the one who knows himself, not one who believes himself to be God. You have a nice day. This is JD. Remember, I am a write-in candidate in all 50 states, and in some states you will have to demand it. And when you do, write in JD or JD Cravo or James D. Crivo or James Dennis Crivo. They're all me. And together we will go in the White House. It's more important that you go in the White House than anything else, because our government needs to be serving you. Thank you. This is JD. Remember what I asked you. What do you think the president should be?